Hello everyone. Welcome to our CDLA Season 16 PRs. I'm Hazy.
I'm Fish. Hello.
You probably know us by now. Yeah, let's just get into it. So we're gonna be doing Desolate today because y'all finished your draft first. So
Not Desolate. Those fools took way longer.
yeah, all of 2 hours longer. So
Right into Primordial.
yeah, in last place we have Oshawat's team. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm looking at here. We both had this team ranked last.
There's just too much to say here, or not enough to say. There's so much that I don't like about this that I don't even like to think about it. The speed doesn't make any sense. There's like a whole bunch of hazard weaknesses and nothing to remove them. There's like not any speed other than Deoxys, but then like, I don't know, Cutie Fly, Sticky Web isn't really real, so I don't know, I just don't respect this team. I don't see how it's going to work at all.
I like the Slowking, you know, having me a slow pivot for DOA is fine. Like the Hydra kind of makes sense, but like the Sun just doesn't really add anything here. G-Darm is like an okay mon, but I don't really think that like adding this as Titan, like I don't think you need both Titan and G-Darm here. Your rock
with the G-Darm.
Yeah.
Not have a Titan.
Titan just is not it. What was I gonna say? Your ground resists are Hydra. Well, actually, no, ground resists are fine. There's something about the Cutie Fly being like the only resist to something that really.
If it is, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know. I just don't know how this team's going to work. It's like you look some teams that are really good. You look at them, and you're like, oh, they could bring any 6 of these mons. And for me, I'm like, in a given matchup, you want to bring like 3 of these. Like, it's like you want to bring your Slowking, your Deoxys, and then like like maybe the top 4 you want to bring all the time, and then like the rest of them are super matchup dependent, and like you're probably just gonna have them doing nothing a lot of the time.
Yeah, and like the worst part of it too is like you have 4 remaining points, and like you can't even say that like, oh, my terror users is like anything special. Like Arbaleaf is a fine terror user, but like Titan is such a matchup fishy mon that like I really don't rate it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know about this one.
Yeah, just like I don't even know where to begin really, because it's just like it just fundamentally just doesn't make sense to me. So,
yeah, I kind of want to look and see if there's stuff on the like what's better on the board that you could have. Like, there's still some good mons up there. Like, Enamorus is undrafted.
Yeah,
Mega Mancham's undrafted.
There's still undrafted Urshifus.
Excadrill's there. Like, I don't know. There's like Heatran's undrafted. Iron Hand is undrafted. There's a lot of good, like, more versatile mons that aren't as matchup fishy that you could pick up instead.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say to this. So
you could do T-Tar Drill and Dracovish. They're all open for some reason.
I mean, it's not T-Tar and Vish usually don't get drafted, but like Drill usually does.
Yeah.
Well, actually, kind of not.
I guess you have a Golurk that you're not going to get rid of. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, I think we can just move on. I don't have much else to add.
Yeah.
All right. So next up we have Raku. I have her team as 14th. You have her team as 15th. Do you want to start because you're the bigger hater here?
Yeah, I'm just a non-believer. That was the first note that I wrote when I was putting these onto our little slideshow here. I just don't. This team doesn't scare me at all. I guess that Terra Torrent's really good. Wellspring is item locked, and without Terra, I don't know. It's not as good. Your Scarfers are. You don't have them. Like Scarf Crown, I guess. It just doesn't.
I would say Scarf Hair is like kind of real.
Yeah, I guess if you get something like a Iron Moth against you that has a boost up, or like a Boulder, or like you just lose, and like the bulk just kind of is middling. I don't know. I just feel like the firepower is missing, and the bulk like doesn't have enough natural base stat total. Like Clefable, Jellicent, Rotom Heat, they're fine, but like they don't really take a neutral hit very well.
for me, like I kind of see the vision, like like Wellspring really struggles with like bulky grasses, so you get the Torn, and that kind of murders everything. Crown kind of hates like bulky steels, bulky dark, so like you have like Torn, Wellspring are pretty like good neutral hitters. It also gives you pivoting. Like I think the top 5 is a good enough start. I just think that the ending, it kind of felt a little underwhelming. Like I think another like top tier breaker here, like I don't know, like a Iron Moth or like a Urshifu or something like that. That's just like, okay, I can come in, click a button, and you have these pivots like Clefable or Heat to get your big strong guy back in. Then it would really work out. And like Heracross is like kind of a budget version of that, but not really. So it's just kind of an odd team. I do think that everything here except the Furfrou can be brought to a game, but it's just like you don't really love having to bring like Jellicent or Heracross or Sceptile to a game. If that makes any sense.
I think it just kind of the top 5 are solid, and then like maybe it's just Mamoswine feels like it's too many points spent where they could have been spent elsewhere. I'm not sure. Like Heracross is 9. That's not bad. It's like I can see how you splurged a lot on your top and didn't have much to flush out. But like something like an Urshifu, if you could make it fit, might work. Just to add an extra bit of firepower, because I feel like this team can't really play the balanced long game, but it can't really keep up offensively either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like the problem is too is like your best offensive mons besides Torn all have like pretty defined checks that are kind of hard for them to circumnavigate. Like a crown, like a non-terra crown against like a Jirachi or a Tinglu is just like you are not beating that 1v1. Wellspring's a little better because you can at least like pivot out, but it does have times where it's just like, wow, I just cannot beat this mon at all. Then Mamo is I love Mamo, very prediction reliant.
Yeah. And the only rock resist is Crown. That's just an interesting thought.
I mean, admittedly, I think Crown is a pretty good rock resist, but it does kind of make Edgequake more scary to deal with.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, that's pretty much all the thoughts I had in this team. I think it's still usable. I just don't really care for it. Like, I don't think I'd be comfortable using it, but it's not horrible.
Yeah, I think I would feel okay using it, but it definitely feels just underpowered. I don't really hate it. All right. Next up, we have Haunch's team. I thought the first 2 picks were good. Then I also like the Roaring Moon, but the rest of it, like I see what the vision is just like have a bunch of mid-tier bulk that is pretty annoying and difficult to take down, but it's just a little on the passive side. Like I don't know. I think the Skeletor just like your really own like only your really Skeletor just your only real special offense is just not great because like yeah sure I guess you could do like Nasty Plot Fez, Nasty Plot Rotom I guess, but beyond that it's just kind of meh to me.
Fez just has 70 special attacks, so I hope you're not running Plot on him. Yeah, I kind of had a similar feeling. Like I'd put it a little higher, but I mostly just because I think there's still like Mega Scizor or Zamazenta. Like I think those are still very usable and can still get a lot of mileage out of them. And like it's decent defensive core. It could get annoying, but I think it's a little bit predictable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the defensive core is just like it's really vulnerable. I feel like it's especially vulnerable to taunt. Like taunt,
oh yeah,
like a taunt Clover Cloakmon just kind of like shuts down the Skeletor, shuts down the Garg, shuts down the Vaporeon, and then it's like okay, there's only so much you can do from there.
Yeah, I think that this team's still quite usable. I said it's a bit slow, which is interesting that I said that because I'm looking at it now and it's okay. Like you can still bring Scarf Staraptor or Booster or Scarf Roaring Moon pretty often, so I'm not as worried about that. But I don't know. I just feel like there's a little bit like. The lack of special offense is a little concerning, but I don't even know really where. Like, what do you move to make that better?
I think
that's
what I would do to try and.
It's more than 1 mon away from being fixed.
Yeah, like I think you would have to like shuffle around. Like, I think you would keep one of Skeledirge or Garg because they kind of do the same thing, and then move around like the Vaporeon Star, like some combination of like Vaporeon, Staraptor, and the last 3 to get like a stronger special nuke, and then just kind of fill in the pieces from there. Like I do like the bottom, like the low tier mods. I think they're all pretty valuable and have good niches, and like I can see them come to games and not be total dead weight, which is more than I can say for some other teams. But it's just the lack of special offense that really concerns me.
Yeah.
All right. So,
yeah. Anyway, still glad to have Haunch back.
Yeah, I'm so glad.
This is a classic Haunch draft.
Yeah. All right. I think moving on, we have Iron Doom. I guess I can start. I think that my first note is that the triple Galar starters are really funny, but I don't think the Inteleon was needed here. I feel like, you know, I'm gonna be crucified for saying this, but like a bulkier water would have been nice here. Like Haunch's Vaporeon would have gone really hard here.
I mean, yeah, I kind of agree.
Like, I think the main reason why I said that is that your fire resists are Cinderace and Inteleon, and neither of them are really like all that bulky. So something like a Victini, like a Banded Victini V Crate, like would you switch into that here?
Yeah, I think it would be kind of fun. I will say, if you take the Inteleon, Cinderace is your only fast guy. I guess you have Sandy Shocks. I think something with Unburden could be nice in this team, with like terrain, just to give that extra speed, revenge killing power that you may find that you're missing.
Yeah,
like
that is true.
Something at base 100 gets it. If something at base 100 gets it to +1, and you're not Scarf Shocks or Scarf Cinderace, like it could be. I guess they got Glide to revenge. It's not the end of the world, but I don't know. It's just nice to have that extra threat. But
yeah. I think the Glowking and Manticore is a really nice defensive piece. Like those two work together really well, and they let you get in your threats, like your KB, your Cinder, your Mega Guard, relatively easily. But Mandibuzz is kind of like the paperclip holding this whole thing together. You know, it's your only dark resist, like anything, like any strong dark type that can break through it, like Darkrai with Ice Beam or Weavile, or you know, stuff like that that doesn't just lose to Mandy can be a massive issue here.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was kind of trying to explain what these notes mean. Well, the first ones are pretty obvious. The hazards and hazard control are a little questionable, which isn't great for Kyurem and Cinderace, because they probably, and Mandibuzz, like, they don't always want to run boots. They can, but they don't always want it. I think that maybe don't bring the Dusknoir as much as you want to, as much as it's like the only thing that you have that maybe wants to take a neutral hit, other than the Vandy Glowking. I feel like don't use the Dusknoir too much.
I don't think the hazards are that bad, because like I've seen like Sandy Shocks carry hazard, like I've seen like hazard lead Sandy Shocks, or like just like spikes utility sets, so that doesn't really bother me too much. And Orthworm is like, if you do bring it, like you're going to be spamming hazards with it anyway, so whatever. But the removal, I do agree, it's a bit lacking.
Yeah, I think the problem for me is if you bring your Sandy Shocks as a hazard setter, then it can't. It's one of your only like 3 fast guys.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But otherwise, like I think the top 4 are really solid. Mega Guard, for like, I'm not a big Mega Guard fan anymore, but for 13 it's fine where it is. I can see the value in it, but otherwise, like I think the game plan is pretty clear, and it's not a bad game plan. It's just some of the pieces could be a little bit improved, and Mandibuzz has a lot of pressure on it to not be, or like once Mandibuzz is gone, and then it could be a lot more difficult to switch into things.
Yeah, I think it's still a very usable team. Should be fun though. I like the game plan's pretty clear. It's got good pivoting. You can still do something funny with Kyurem every once in a while.
Yeah, I agree. I can't really think of much else to say about this team, so you want to move on?
Yeah, I'm good.
Alright, next up we have Kitsune. We both have this team ranked 12. I think that this is when we start to get to the teams where I really start to like them. I think the game plan here is pretty clear. It's a Sun team, you have the Zama in the back. Game plan is just, get your Sun up, get Victini, get Raging Bolt in, and just click buttons. And I think it's a pretty solid game plan just because those things can be so hard to switch into, especially in Sun. You know, you have the Hatterene for bouncing back rocks, Samurai for spikes, Gligar for slow pivoting, Chansey for slow pivoting and just being annoying. But my only two big question marks are, one, no grounded poison kind of sucks because like something like a Muck is just able to get T-Spikes up here for free because you don't really want to switch in your Hatterene into it. And also the Lati doesn't really make too much sense to me here. I guess it's like a fast Scarfer. We already have like Scarfictini, so it's kind of whatever. I guess it's another Defogger, but Gligar can kind of already run that anyways. It's a utility Botmon, so yeah, I don't really know about the Latias.
Yeah, this team, I can't really explain it. I guess it's just because the Sun team and Sun teams are like this. It doesn't hit the spot for me. There's something about it. Like, the game plan's clear, and I don't doubt that it's gonna work. Like you said, strong things to descend in, like, and take advantage of Sun. I agree. The Latias could probably be something different, but I can't exactly place what. Like, you do appreciate something with that 110 speed. Mm-hmm. So I kind of see it. The Hazard Surf is fine, I guess. Like Chansey and Gligar, you can do the job. I think it's just like I think Kevin also said in his for the record, I wrote this before Kevin recorded, but the Ghost and Dark Resists are not great. Like, if you are up against a Spectrier and it just like clicks up against your Chansey, or like something like a Pulp that can just run a physical move and blow it up, like, I could see that being a huge problem.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, maybe like a Ogerpon Cornerstone here instead of the Latias. I could see that work.
Yeah, I could see that too. I wonder if it's not open. Never mind. Unless that was, I think that might have been the other division that was taken, actually. Yeah, Cornerpon's open. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I think that like this team can still win games. It's just a little janky, and I could see it either. I could see it struggle in some matchups where, like, if you can't get the Sun up consistently, then I think it could struggle a lot more than you would like. But again, you still have a Zamasu at the end, so it's not like the end of the world.
Yeah, I kept finding myself saying like, "Oh, it's weak to this," and then I looked and saw the Zamasu at the end, and I was like, "Never mind, it can be fine."
Yeah,
cool.
I can't.
That's all I had.
Yeah, I can't think of too much more to say. All right, next up we have Endless. I forgot to remove that last bullet point. I think that the concept of this team is pretty cool. Just like basically just hazard stack to get everything within Zygarde range and just win from there. And then if Zygarde doesn't win, then you have Lop and Weavile to clean up. My real concern with this is that Bulu is pretty much your only water resist. It's one of your only grass resists, which is not great, especially when you're providing your own terrain, and it's your only ground resist. And sure, like, your team loves grassy terrain for, like, Zygarde gets extra healing, Goldengo gets EQ's weakened, all that. But I feel like you end up having to bring the Bulu more often than you really want to. Like, it's not a bad mod, but it's not something that you want to say, oh, I want to bring Bulu to all 9 games, and you're completely happy with that.
Yeah. Yeah. All of my notes here are negative. I did have this at like 6. Like, everything between 4 and 11 for me is like, it's still very usable. Like, I like all of them. This one was, I think, at like 6, and then as I saw more and more teams, it kept sliding. Same kind of comments. Like, I think that the Zygarde Terra type is gonna have to do a lot of work to make up for Bulu kind of being your only resistance to some stuff, which is okay, but it just can be annoying if you're like, oh, I know that they're gonna have to bring Terra Water to Zygarde this game, and you can take advantage of it, right? Like, there's something about having a predictable Terra that can really screw you over, and then like the combination of like not really having any, like, you have Mega Loft, I guess, but like you don't really have any pivoting here. I guess Mute, maybe. It depends on the week, right? So you're switching in on hazards, which you're not really removing. I guess you have Glomora removal, so maybe I didn't give that enough credit. But I think that could be an issue because you're just kind of raw switching in a lot of this stuff, and like you get like, oops, they just click knockoff when your Goldango on the switch, or like your Weavile doesn't want to take any hits, right? And like Bulu's already pressured enough, so like I think that could be a bit of a problem with the lack of like a slow pivot.
Yeah, I agree. Like I like the Lapis, the fast pivot, the cleanup mon, but like you said, no, like not having a slow pivot to get your Zygarde, your Goldango in. Like they can take hits, they don't really mind that, but like if they get like if Zygarde gets toxic or Willett on the switch in, then you're like really sad. So it adds a lot of variance to your game plan, to where I think that you can still win a lot of games with this, but you just need to be very smart, and you have a very small margin. You have a smaller margin of error than most teams do when it comes to getting those victories.
Yeah, like Zygarde can 2-hit KO anything, like that's below like 50 or 60%. So it's like, as long as you position yourself well and don't get burned or whatever, right? Like it's possible, but it's not always the easiest to do. And like you got a lot of ways of forcing chip between this team. Like you got Weavile and Lop both have priority. You got a lot of hazards with Glamora. Definitely a good game plan here. It's just like I think you could be forced a couple times on the back foot to kind of give up that cleaning option with Zygarde, and then you're in trouble.
Yeah, I think it's also just a little bit unfortunate that I feel like Glamora is kind of pigeonholed into being like the hazard support mon. I mean, I guess he can kind of do it with Mew, but both Mew and Glamora, like they can do more than just like spam out hazards, but it feels just a little disingenuous to like reduce them down to that. So hopefully we can see some Rock Polish Glamoras or Scarf Glamora or something like that in the future. That would be cool.
Speed tiers are actually really good.
Yeah, the speed is excellent here. I can't.
Yeah, I don't have much else.
I can't think of anything else to say really. So I guess we can move on. All right. Next up we have Jake's team. There is a tie between Jake and someone else for this position. Yeah. So I guess you can start.
Yeah, I think the first thing that I saw is like you on a prep duck and like you look at the average base stat total, not looking as good as other teams. I think there's a little bit of a lack of immediate power here. Like Coco's not exactly an immediate threat. Scrata's solid, of course, but even then, like 110 base, not ideal. I think that you want to save your Valiant for the end game a lot of the time, so that could be a bit of an issue. And then just like on the defensive side, you don't really have something with Spadef. But I think that still a really solid team. Like you got solid pivoting between your Slowbro and like your fast pivots, the Coco and Meow. Like those are solid. This team's very, very usable, and I think it could be a fun one to just like you don't have, the game plan's clear every game. It mostly works every game. Like you can just pivot around with Coco and Meow, slow pivot with like your Slowbro and your Gliscor, and then just like bring in a Valiant or a Quackable to snowball and win at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I like this one.
I like it too. There's just some things that I'm a little concerned about. Mainly, no grounded poison. When like you don't like it's not unplayable without a grounded poison, but things like Quackleval, Slowbro, Meowscarada, Coco, like they can run boots, but they also like other items a lot. Valiant also likes other items a lot, so just having those get worn down, especially like Coco, Meow, and Valiant, because they're so fast that like they generally don't take chip too often. So just like having that extra residual poison damage can really add up, and it might force Quackleval to be like Terra Poison more often than not, which is, it's not a bad Terra type on it, but sometimes you want to do things like Grass, Electric, or Dark on it. So that could be an issue. I also think that the bulk is a little bit on the physically biased side. Like they're just naturally more physically bulky, so something like a strong special attacker could be a bit of an annoyance. Like just trying to think of an example right now.
I was just thinking Enamorous blows this team up because like your only fairy resistance is Metagross. I guess Valiant blows this team up, but you have it, so that is a good save.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, something like an Enamorus or a Darkrai could be really. Well, I guess maybe not. Yeah, Darkrai's still kind of annoying here just because it has Sludge Bomb for your fairies, Ice Beam for the Glow Score. So like, just strong special attackers could still be an issue for this team. Like I think everything else though like works pretty well. The hazards are great. I love I think Vespiqun's a really cool low tier pivot. I like the tools that it has. Offense is pretty good. Carry users are good. Everything else just kind of makes sense here.
No, I'm looking forward to see this one in action. I don't know if I play this one, but it's a cool team.
Yeah, I can't think of too much else to say here. So you want to move on?
Yeah, the next one's a tie. Also, tied for 9th or tied for 10th, whichever way you want to put it. Can't remember.
We have Sage Spike.
Yeah.
So
you want to go ahead? Or?
Yeah, this team, like the bulk is really, really good. Like Tinglu, Moltres, Tinkaton, Mega Venu, even like Electros is just really fucking annoying to get through. And they're not passive mons either, but the offense just feels really matchup fishy to me. Like Keldeo as one of your main, like I love Keldeo, complete matchup fish mon, especially without Terra. Like it'll either have weeks where it's great or it's just horrible to bring here, and without that, like you're kind of relying on like just a bunch of chip and like Pult plus Boulder to get through things, and even then Boulder, like even with Terra, like Boulder is better, but you still have times where it's like you can't break through some stuff, and then Pult can struggle with a lot of fat fairies and fat normals. So it's just kind of you kind of have to be ready to play the long game every week, and I can see that kind of lead to mental lapses in the game because everyone makes mistakes eventually.
Yeah, I think if you play this team, if you use bot gameplay, like I don't know, this is a really solid defensive core, but like if they're being predictable on with their defensive switches and stuff, this team could get really taken advantage of. But it's still annoying as hell. Like, there's no clear way to break through Ting, Moltres, Tinkaton, Mega Venu, and the Electros as well. Like, especially because like those are looking at the team, like those are coming most of the time. Like, as pure Keldeo probably comes like to half the games because of the other ones it doesn't have a good matchup. So like that whole defensive core is usually going to be there, and then, yeah, it's just a little bit of like a question of like, okay, if you can't position yourself for a Boulder or a Pult to come in and clean up, it could be a problem. I also just don't know what the Kamala does here. The Ting is already a good Ghost Resist, Dark Resist. Like, I don't think you really need the spin that bad. I think it could just be something, maybe another fast threat, or even just like another different low tier that you'd want to bring more, because Kamala doesn't really have the bulk that I would ever want to bring it more than anything above it, really.
I mean, I can kind of see it as like a status absorber or slow pivot, so that way you can like, oh, I don't want Moltres to get toxic, or I don't want Tinglu to get burnt, so I can just go Kamala, absorb it, and then you turn out into something else.
Yeah, I guess so. And it does fill a good speed gap. You can also run the funny sleep talk set.
Yeah, I don't hate the Kamala here. Like, it's not the greatest low tier, but it has its role, and there's worse mons than it.
I think I've held like a 5-year grudge against that thing because it got Dark Pulse flinched by a Greninja that it was supposed to check one time. I've never cared for it since then.
Honestly, fair.
But yeah, no, that's really all I had in this team. I really hope I don't play this one because it looks really annoying.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm in the other division. Just did not play this because, yeah, really annoying. Alright, moving on, we have Queen next. You want to start?
Yeah, I looked at this one and I really liked it, and then like I just don't know how real the Volcarona is. Like, there's something about it. I really like the top three. It's a pretty clear game plan. Like, they complement each other really well. Like, with all this fast pivoting, I think this team's a little bit like missing a slower pivot to help get those in and out, because you don't exactly want to flip turn.
I would say Grimstall is the slow pivot.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's kind of the only one. I wouldn't mind another one, because you flip turn out of your Palafin off of something, and then your Grimmsnarl has to take a hit, right? Like, Otherwise, because you don't want your Naganadel or your Ogerpon to take a hit. So it's a little bit of a like. I mean, that's assuming it lives the flip turn, I suppose. But I think that just those top 3 alone, I mean, they come to every game. They cause problems every game. There's no clear like I've used Palafin and Ogerpon together before, and like they're really nice because the 2 of them always force like makes the Terras really obvious for your opponent. Like they kind of have to do like Dragon or something that resists both of their stabs, or at least they should. And like give a Naganadel to punish that, or prevent them from being able to run that comfortably, which is cool. I think some of the rock resists and that type of stuff is a little concerning as you get into some of the lower tier picks. I'll let you.
Yeah, I think for me, I think the game plan is pretty clear here. Get screens up, get hazards up, and then use the screens to just get a setup win with Naga or Volcarona or any of the top 4, really. I just think that it's a little linear in that, like, Volcarona, defensive Volcarona is sort of real, but, like, it can't, like, the other, like, the top 4, they don't really have a ton of, well, I guess it's really just, like, the Volcarona and the Ogerpon don't have a ton of different roles they can really do, in terms of, like, how they want to win. Like, Naga can do, like, just, like 4 attacks all-out attacker, Spec, Scarf, Palafin has a bunch of different things he can do, like Threat Spate, Boom Burst, that type of stuff. But it just feels a little linear in, like, what you're trying to do, and if you can shut down the screens, then I think it can be kind of hard to get things going. And I also really am not... Like, I get the idea of the Diglett, but it's too weak to really abuse its trapping capabilities, in my opinion. And also having it as your rock resist is... Yeah. And also having it as your rock resist is really kind of sketchy. Another thing, I think, also with, like, Naganadel, it's a mon that usually gets checked by, like, bulky poisons or, like, things like T-Tar, Heatran. And I think for that, like, having a strong ground type is a lot nicer. Like, I guess with, like, you have, like, Palafin for both of those examples, so it's not the end of the world, but it's just, like, a good ground type to help with, like, a Alolan Muck or something like that would have been nice.
Yeah, I think this team's going to have very fast games. It doesn't have a whole lot of longevity, so... like, yeah, Mega King can wish, and nothing wants to switch in to take the wish pass, so it's like... I don't know. I think that this could have nice and quick games, and if there's no screens up, it's a bit of a problem, but it's still a super fun team. And, like, there's not a clear check to those top 4, and those are pretty easy to bring most games, so...
Yeah, I agree. Can't really think of too much else, so I think we can move on.
Yeah.
Alright, next up we have Kron, and there's a lot of top-heavy teams this season, and I think Kron is, like, the most top-heavy team in both divisions. Like, holy hell, what is it? 8 points for your last 4 mons is wild.
Yeah. It really just blew the whole budget. I believe Kron's thing during the draft of, what do you mean you picked something under 17 points? And it was, like, round 6.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, there's 6 Pokemon. Well, unlike some of the other top-heavy teams, I just don't... I guess Doxman's usable. Crocalor and Ampharos are probably not ever coming to a game, or at least they're really struggling if they do. Morgrem, it's there, I guess. It can run screens every once in a while, but I think that's a little bit of a problem. The Terra users are solid. Like, Doxman, it's bulky enough that with Terra it could check some stuff. I know he used it last season pretty well. Manaphy's super fun. I think there's a little bit on my end, like, there's a big clump of speed tiers together. They're not a bad speed tier to have, like, it's 85 to 100 basically all clumped together. But something like just above that base 100 speed, like, it can really put some pressure on your team for sure.
For me, like, I think that I don't really mind the low tiers too much because I think they all have, like, their own niches, and I can see them come to games. Like, you have Crocalor for Unaware, Dashbun has, like, can selectively wall things like Gouging Fire, and, like, Morgan for screens. Ampharos is, like, a slow pivot with I think it has Heal Bell and some other useful stuff. It's just a little bit slow. Like, it's not the end of the world because you have good Scarfers and you have E-Speed Genesect. But having Sneasler as like your fastest mon is kind of annoying, especially if it's like something like a bulky Rock Polish mon or something like that. That can just clean up. I could see that be an issue. And Mammal coverage is also pretty good here because your ground resists are Lando T and Lottie, and as we all know, those are not really good switch-ins to ice moves. Sure, you have the Tropicos, but it doesn't always want to run boots, and once that Terra Shell is broken, then it's not the best switch into those.
I don't mind. Like, weirdly with this team, like, it does, like, you kind of have to use Tropicos to eat a hit every once in a while. But, like, if you have a Genesect or a Sneasler as a late game cleaner, it's, like, not as big of a deal if your Tropicos gets slapped around, because, like, the other guys in the top 6 can run that, like, that set where they pop off and snowball at the end. Like, your Genesect can shift gear, Lando can rock polish, your Sneasler can do some burn set, and Manaphy or Latias can just like set up and win. So it's not the end of the world, I guess, as long as you know that you're willing to give up your Tropicos shell, it could still be very usable.
Yeah, that's fair. I think otherwise though, like, it's a pretty good team. I guess the hazards are a little bit limited. Like, Tropicos Lando can run rocks, but they don't always want to. They sometimes like to run other moves. Like, I guess Lando less so. Like, you can fit rocks onto it pretty well most weeks, but it's just like you might have some games where you're just like, yeah, I can't really set up rocks here reliably because I need to run. I need like Calm Mind, Meteor. I need like Calm Mind Agility or Calm Mind Rapid Spin Tropicos plus like Scarf Lando or something like that.
Yeah, I think this team makes me stressed because it has almost too much flexibility. Like, you find yourself that all of these top 6 can do so many different things that you're like, oh shoot, now that I realize that I can run a double dance Lando that wins, I can't get rocks up, right? Like, there's something like that that could kind of be your undoing and like maybe forces you to kind of dial it back on some of the more creative options that this team looks like it could use. But that's really a nitpick. Like, you can't have everything. I think this is a really, really good team. I honestly might have wanted to put it higher. I think it probably had a higher and slid it down.
Yeah, I think I really like this team. I could see myself use it. It's just like you said, I think that you can find yourself like being forced to limit your creativity just because you're like, oh, I kind of need rocks this matchup because like if I don't break the sash on this obvious mon, then I'm just cooked. Something like that.
Yeah.
So I think we can move on. Next up we have your team. Or I think there was a Chron wasn't in a tie with anyone. Yeah, it's your team next.
Yeah, I might have overrated my own team here, but I gotta stand up for my boys. I think this team's gonna be really fun. I pointed out a bunch of my issues here, like my speed and Scarfer's a little questionable with the webs, and like, I don't know, I'm not a huge... I guess I'll have to be converted to use this team. Like, I don't use Vicavolt to set webs usually, I just use it as like a good pivot. I mean, it still does the job alright, but yeah, like my Scarfer is Greninja, and that's not great. My rockers are a little questionable as well, but Mesprit can usually fill in there. I think that I could struggle to play long games, but I don't really do that anyway, so I'm not that worried about it with the lack of defensive bulk. Then I have like a few good slow pivots, like between my Mesprit, Vicavolt, Tentacruel. I could Memento or something with Klefki. I can do pretty well to get in the top 3 in gouging. So I'm excited to use this one. I don't know how you prep for these defensively, so I'm happy to play an offensive matchup against people every week.
Yeah, I think that you have really good button clickers in like Gallade CC and Blood Moon's just Blood Moon. Like, it's really hard to switch into those with anything. I think that also like your pivot, like your low tier pivots are also really solid. Like Mesprit, like Full Tentacruel, they can come to a lot of games and just kind of do their thing pretty reliably. I think my big concerns with this is that like once Glenterra's, you really don't have a ghost resist, so you kind of have to play smart about like when you drop the Terra, unless you do Terra normal, of course, and then it's kind of a moot point. And then I also think that you rely on webs a lot for speed control. Like, yeah, you have T-Wave Klefki, but you can't always fit T-Wave on Klefki. Gren's your only real Scarfer. I mean, I guess Mesprit can Scarf. Like, Scarf Mesprit can be brought sometimes, but like Gouging doesn't really want to Scarf too much. Glade, Blood Moon, terrible Scarfers, obviously. Tentacles, Copium. So I can see like revenge killing things be an issue, but I don't. With Webs up, like it shouldn't be too big of a deal, and you have enough natural bulk on most things to where you can usually live the revenge hit.
Yeah, I think that unfortunately is the problem with this team, and I've had teams before that I've drafted and had a hard time with it. Like, yeah, Scarf Mesprit's not really real on this team because it's like the most reliable rocker and pivot, like, so it's kind of hard to bring in Scarf as well. But I don't know. I think it's still a really fun team. All of the mons are usable, which is good. I mean, maybe you'll say that Grottle and Golem aren't usable with their one-pointers, and I think they still have their niches. So, no, I'm excited to use this one, but yeah, it's not a perfect team by any means.
Yeah, I think that this is overall like a pretty damn good team. It's just I just have those concerns about the speed control and like revenge killing things could be an issue. So I think this team will have to come down to like doing a lot of trades in the game, like getting 1v1s plus chip or something like that to eke out the win.
Yeah, which is normal for how I play anyway, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I think we can move on.
Yeah.
Alright, next up we have Burning, and we disagree a little bit with this team. I guess I can start.
Yeah, I think I had a hard time between these middle ones, but I consider this a middle one, and I see you consider it a top 3, so I'll let you go ahead.
I think I might also just be biased because I think that this team just has... I don't know how to describe it, but it just looks fun to use. Speed is... You're really, really fast. Like, you have, like, 6 of your 10 mons are base 100 or faster, and out of those, you have 2 good Scarfers, a booster speed mon, and a speed boost mon, so like you can like you're so fucking fast that it's pretty much like you don't really need to worry about like Scarfers or anything like that here. And I think that like Blaziken, Zarude, Dio Speed, like they all kind of worked well together, and then you have the Dragouge and the Treads as like utility pivots that I think are really nice here. Finny's like a good like bulky setup mon that this team really likes. Since it can like help soften things up for Blaziken or Dio Speed to clean up. I think the Terror users are pretty solid. Thunder Eye, we lowered its price, and I think like for the price that you got it, I like it a lot. My only real concerns with this is that Freeze Dry is an issue to switch into. You don't really have a resist, but that's kind of there's not too many good Freeze Dry mons, so it's not something you need to be too worried about. And also, yeah, Kirim was undrafted, Bundle is drafted, and then beyond that, it's like Freeze Dry, Mamo, Vanillux. That's about it for Freeze Dry users. And my other concern is that I feel like Treads kind of has to do a lot of the defensive work here. Like it's your rock resist, it's your main flying resist because Thunder Eye is not bulky at all, and it's your main way of getting removal and hazards. Like Dio Speed, Cursula can set rocks, but they generally... Well, Cursula you don't really want to bring, and Dio Speed, I feel like it wants to run other moves more often. So you kind of rely on Treads to do all your utility, and it's good at what it does, it's just boring. I'm not the biggest Treads fan, having used it.
Treads is so sauceless. It works, but it's just not very interesting. Yeah, I think I maybe discredited Dundee a bit with my pick here. That's kind of the first thing. It feels like one more like good threat because like the non-terror is rude. It's a good Scarfer, but like outside of that, I don't know how much of a believer I am. Like the bulk upsets are a lot harder to run with that Terra to help. But I think this is still really solid. I mean, I've ranked at 6th. Like that's still very good. I think that Dragouge being the only slow pivot's a little bit of a worry for me because you don't necessarily want to sack something to bring in your Blaziken. I think Kevin might have said like this team might just work better as an HO team and forget about the Dragouge. I think that's fair to say, but maybe would like one more thing with some immediate power if that was the case.
I think the Zarude, it works fine here because you have so many good bug resists, like mainly Dragalge, Finny, Treads are really good bug resists, and they can't really, like, they all have like their own ways to punish you for like taking the bug move, so it's kind of whatever. But I do agree that like another slow pivot could have been nice. Like, you do not need webs on this team at all.
No, that's kind of the B could probably change. I agree. It's like, yeah, it's either more slow pivots or less. Let's just go for the HO vibes. But I still like this team. I don't know if I'm a Vigoroth believer, but who cares? It's like 1 point. Cursula, I'm surprised that's 1 point because I feel like that's kind of bringable. I don't know. Maybe it's not. But
the defensive bulk, you have like no fizz def, so it's kind of hard to get in, and
yeah,
you're just really slow, so you're pretty much always taking 2 hits before you can do anything. But for 1 point, I think it's fine where it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that the defensive core gets chipped away pretty quick. Has a hard time sticking around for a longer game like that team that Spike has that has like the Tinkaton and the Mega Venusaur, and like this team's not lasting that long, right? Like it's gonna have to beat that team defensively or offensively because like your Tapu Fini, it can only take so many times where someone clicks you turn off of it and it switches into hazards or whatever that it's a problem. Same kind of thing with Dragalge and Treads, right? So I don't know. I still like it, but I think you got to play this team the correct way and not try and use it how it can't be used.
Yeah, I agree. I think we can move on now.
Yeah.
All right. Next we have Flap. We both rated this team pretty highly. I guess I can start because I'm a little bit lower on it. I think that it's a really good team besides having a really not great matchup into Freeze Dry. Kind of like Burning's team, but I think a little bit worse. Like something like a Bundle here is just like how do you switch into the Bundle is such a pain in the ass here. But yeah, other than that, like you have your good utility pivots, you have your good offense, you have your good speed tiers, Terra users are great. Like everything else just kind of works about this team.
Yeah, I definitely like this team. I agree. I guess Freeze Dry is a bit of an issue, but you got like UC takes neutral hits really well. Seems like you can do it, so it's not the end of the world. I think Pharaoh like gets really annoyed by like a poison type that resisted stabs or a fairy type that resisted stabs. Moth and Garchomp are right there, and you can turn right off of their check because you're most likely faster than anyway. And then you have like solid slow pivots to bring them in, like and position your Garchomp or your Moth. Manectric's also really nice. Like the speed on this team is solid. Whimsicott, it exists. It can do some spore stuff. It can be annoying, so I don't mind it. And like your hazard, this team just has all the roles that you want filled. Really, like your hazards, I don't worry about that. You have a Uxie and a Garchomp, like you're always getting hazards up. You have the like Prankster Defog option with Whimsicott if you need it. And like you don't even really mind running boots on like a Pharaoh or Moth anyway. So I think it's a really solid team. I think yeah, like the ice resist, not great, but there's only a few times where you have to deal with that.
I think one other nitpick I have is that I think like switching into knock could be a little bit annoying here because Pharaoh's not really a knock absorber. Whimsicott is pretty frail, and it does like its leftovers or boots a lot just because it doesn't have reliable recovery. And then Mabostive, like you're only like dark resist that doesn't really mind taking, like it can take a knockoff decently well, but it still likes to do like band, scarf, or stuff like that. So then you're kind of left with like, okay, I need to take a knockoff of Corviknight or Licky or even Uxie, and it's just like, it's not the greatest thing, not the greatest feeling in the world. I guess Moth if you proc the booster, but it's pretty frail as is. So like it's not great. It's not great either way. So
that's fair.
It's not a crippling weakness, and I think the team is still really good despite that. It's just something that like you kind of need to be like, okay, yeah, I need to take this L on. You just kind of need to acknowledge that, like, yeah, I'm probably gonna be losing my items a lot this game.
Yeah.
So I think we can
move on. Team.
Yeah. I think next up we have Kevin. I guess, do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, I think I like this one. Like, is another 6-mon team, but I think the 1-pointers are the cheap guys are a lot more bringable. Like, Arbok has its moments. That's a Terra Diplin. I guess it Terras and does something. The Porygon has its its ghost type matchup where it does something, and like there's an Olawak. I guess that's alright too. I think this team just kind of has everything you want from, like, despite the fact that it only really has, like, it has those 6 main mons, but like if there's a matchup where you're like, I really know that I need T-Spikes, you don't mind having an Arbok there. And like defensively, not that Kevin's going to play it very defensively, Zapdos can hold on for dear life and get lucky and get away with it. And same with like Magearna takes hits decently well if you want to run it that way. Terra Card's pretty good. I think I like how the lack of a dark and fighting type is still not really noticed. It's like the team doesn't feel it that much because Card can kind of Terra into those pretty well. And Magearna takes those dark type hits like pretty easily. So I think this is going to be a fun one for Kevin to use. But maybe a little bit of a nitpick, like your Scarfers are a Terra Card or bundle, which I don't love. You'd rather probably have the Terra Card do something else, but I think it's still very useful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like it's a very Kevin team. Like he's drafted Magearna a lot, Zapdos a lot, Bundle a lot, Necrozma a lot. Like the top, everything here except the Diplin, I've seen him draft like multiple times, and I guess the Mega Trump too. So it's a lot of mons that he's very comfortable with, and I know he can use well. It's just I think that having the Dark type would be kind of nice. Like you have Magearna, so it's kind of whatever. But just having that, so that way you don't get like, stored power. Like people don't try to bring like stored power into you. Could be nice. I do agree though that like the card is probably like your quote unquote dark type though.
Yeah, I think I'm just looking at it more like having rocks is nice for chipping this team for sure, but you don't have a whole lot of time to sit in front of this team before it causes you a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm. And like even then, like Zapdos, like defog Zapdos is just able to force so many switches that you can probably get a defog off anyways.
Yeah.
And even things like Necrozma, like Chomp, like they're fine bringing rocks a lot of the time. Especially, I think more so Chomp than Necrozma.
Yeah, I've never known Kevin to be a rocks lead Necrozma, but it's a viable set. So.
Mm-hmm. And I think the Aloak is kind of cool if you can get like a good matchup for it where you can get like Trick Room Porygon into it. It's not a bad mon. It's just very niche, I would say. Like, it can do some cool stuff.
Yeah. No, I think this is number 13. I like this one.
Yeah. I think we both like it a lot. I have it 4th, you have it 2nd, so I can't really think of too much else to say. You wanna move on?
Yeah.
Alright. Next up we have Rage. I have Rage as my favorite team, and you have him as your 4th favorite. I guess I can start. It's kind of weird. I feel like that's a little weird to have this so high, but like, I think just the more I look at it, the more like, yeah, I see the vision here. I really like what it's trying to do. You just have a lot of really strong individual mons that are like a pain in the ass to deal with, and they all work together pretty damn well. Like, you have Tusk. Like, okay, what's usually the Tusk answer? Bulky flying types. You have the Zera for that. What does Zera struggle with? Like bulky grass types, bulky grass and ground types. You have the Prim, you have the Giratina. So like those can deal with those pretty well a lot of the time. The Roserade even. You just have like a good like bulky pivot core of the Prim and Jirachi that can also do a bunch of different things. Darkrai can do a bunch of different things. Like everything here is very non-linear, and I think that makes it very malleable for every matchup. Like, I don't think there's ever going to be a matchup where you're like, okay, wow, I just get 6-0'd by this thing. You usually have some sort of out to it. My only real complaints is that I think your ghost resists are a little on the frail side. Like, Darkrai, Mega Absol, like, they can take a hit, but they don't really love taking hits too well. So even like a Specs Shadow Ball is like still gonna be doing like 45-ish to them. And then Fire Fairy coverage could also be a bit annoying because that is unresisted here. But there's not too many Mons that have strong Fire plus Fairy coverage. Well, I guess there's like, it's either like you're facing a strong Fairy that has Fire coverage like Diancie or Enamorus, or you're taking like facing like a Victini or an Iron Moth that has that Fairy coverage, and it's not the end of the world. It's just something you need to keep an eye out for. And I feel like Prim might be forced into being like the defensive Mon to deal with those things a lot.
Yeah. I didn't rate this one quite as high. I think the main thing that I put there is it's not my type of Mons. Like, I can't use Tusk, I can't use Darkrai, I can't use Jirachi, I can't use Giratina. That is like most of the good stuff on this team. So that definitely hurts like my understanding of how well this is going to work. It's not something that I've been able to get to work myself. I think that like obviously it's still a very good team. I think that Primordial and Jirachi, the problems with them for me is that their weaknesses are a bit easier to exploit than like something that's only got a single typing or something like that. That's a bit, if your opponent gets the read right, they just kind of get to a KO'd. But that's really a nitpick. Like, it's still a solid team. Like, your Giratina just eats hits. And if you have wish support from Jirachi, it'll live a long time. I think the Mega Absol and Darkrai, it makes no sense. I don't know why. I guess Mega Absol's 3 points, so it doesn't really matter if you don't bring it. But I think it could be something different. And like the Roserade as well. Like, I don't know. I just feel like those two are the ones that I would change if I was going to change something. But it's still a really good team.
Yeah, I think despite like the flaws it has, I think that I could see myself use this even though I really don't like Sarah at all. So I don't know. I think it's a very good team. I can't really think of too many other complaints I have about it. So I think we can move on.
Yeah, the hazards. Yeah, they're alright.
Yeah.
Okay.
And our last team, and overall the top team of the division, is Div's team. You can start.
Yeah, I mean, this top 3 is just crazy. You can't, like, they can either set up on you or just like click a move that blows you up, and like you have to just pick which one you want to happen to you. Like, do you want to switch out on the POW while it clicks Source to hits? Do you want to switch out on the Diancie while it clicks the move? Like, you kind of just have to either stay in and die, just to hope that they don't set up on you. And same sort of thing with Spec. Like, I think that you can get taken advantage of really easy if you don't have the momentum on one of these 3 Mons. Which, like, every game at some point, Div's going to be able to, he'll sack something or something dies and he just gets to bring one of these in and put you in that situation. I think that there's really good pivoting, and like I found that like Queen gets covered pretty well on this team. Like, it's not a perfect Mon, like obviously it's not that expensive, but like it's it's supported quite well on its weaknesses. Like, it's not you got Wash there and Scissor there, and then like offensively there's like an incredible amount of versatility to cover the weaknesses that it has. Like, you're not bringing a psychic type that breaks Queen against a POW and Spec. Everything on the team's pretty bringable as well, I'd say. Yeah, the hazards, I mean, like, Queen does alright. I don't like running hazards on Mega Diancie, so that's not great. But you could probably still make it work.
I think for me, like, I think it's it's obviously a very good team. I have it ranked second. Your top 3 can be a little frail, so it can be like the main ways you're getting them in is like through like getting sacks and pivoting. And I think maybe a bit more pivoting would have been nice, but like you have Rotom Wash Scissor, that's like the most classic full turn pairing imaginable. They work well together. They get a lot of opportunities to click those moves, so it's kind of like whatever. You're not too upset about that. I think the Terra users, they're not bad. But I think you could have done a little bit better. Like, I think maybe something over Cress. Like, I feel like Cress is just kind of a momentum sink on this team that already has, like, you keep up your momentum through offensive pressure and the Volturn from, like, Wash and Scizor. And Cress just being kind of like a sit there, do nothing Mon is a little bit unfortunate there, in that you can kind of kill your momentum. And make it so like, okay, instead of like pivoting around, then you have to pick a sack to get your power spec into revenge. But otherwise, like it's really not a big deal. Like you can still bring the crest to games. Lunar Dance is really nice to give you a second life for using one of your top 3, which can be devastating in the right matchup. So yeah, at the end of it all, it's like really just nitpicks. I guess Nidoqueen as your rock resist is a little not great, but it's pretty good rock resist, so whatever. I don't really care about that. I guess water resists, wash Trampa, that's fine. Ground resists, you have 2 good levitators, so I guess mold breaker mons could be annoying, but really it's just like drill.
Yeah, I think drill's the only one that I see being a problem, and it's undrafted right now. So it's like, I don't know. I think that this team's. I mean, I think it's the best one. I think the crest, I agree, could be a bit of a momentum sink. Same with like Nidoqueen, you got to make sure you make your double correctly. But crest, you could just like click Lunar Dance if you felt like it. And I think Div's a strong enough player to use that well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't really think of too much else to say about this team. It's really good.
It's really good. I think I dodged. No, I think I played regular season, actually. That's a lie. Not excited for that.
So, just a quick recap. This is how our rankings broke down, and the overall rankings kind of came out. Let's see if there's not too much overlap here. Yeah, overall, I think every team here, I can see how it can win a game. I think that pretty much all of the every team from 12 onwards, I think I can see winning a fair number of games. And even the bottom teams, I think that they're not so unplayable that you just end up going 0-9 with them.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think that everything above 12 can make playoffs, and I think that the ones below can still pick off some games, and if they make the right trades or get lucky a couple times, they could still have a good season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think overall it's just a very strong season for Primordial. Very strong division. A lot of good players here. So yeah, I think that's about it. We'll be back next time when we do Desolate. I don't know when that'll be out, but hopefully soon-ish. Yeah, alright.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks, folks. Bye.